On today's show, Spivey asked the question, is it time to change the way youth and high school baseball players play games? When do we focus on development for the individual and when do we play? Is the current process too much? We want to hear from you. Let us know how you feel and give us your opinion.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Morning Heaters. Morning Heaters, a Performance Edge podcast. It's been a while. Appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. We have a lot of stuff coming from you. I promise you we're going to get this show back up and rolling again the best we can. The first thing I want to talk about is all you coaches out there on Twitter and social media, Facebook. I love the content. For anybody listening, if you're not out there on Twitter and you're not looking, there's a lot of free content and a lot of amazing coaches right here in the Houston area. A lot of great coaches out there, but I just don't understand how you guys have the time to tweet. Some of you guys are tweeting like every 30 seconds, something is coming out there and I can't figure it out. So I know the cool thing in today, it seems like coaches are judged by their Twitter followers. And if that's the case, I'm definitely in last place on that. I actually had a guy tell me the other day on Twitter that I wasn't relative because I had no Twitter followers. All the thousands of guys we train and help, but that doesn't matter, right? So if that's it, look out. I'm about to start tweeting, and I guess it doesn't matter what you put out there as long as you get those followers. But no, I'm better at talking. Some of you guys are better at typing and putting your thoughts out there. Me, I'm a little long-winded, so yeah, I have a podcast. But this question's for you, so I'm asking you to tune in. I need you guys, you coaches. I love the content. Parents, I love the stuff that you're putting out there, and the questions that you're asking in the forums I think are great. But at some point, maybe it's time to actually make a change and we start talking about it. So this is for you. As Chris said in the opening, we want you to get in there. We want you to give us your thoughts, give us your opinions. Athletes, we want to hear from you guys as well. Get in the comments, DM us. I said that right, DM?
Yeah.
It's a direct message. Direct message us and let us know what's going on because your feedback's important and we want to hear from you guys. So yeah, what's firing me up right now and I want to talk about today quickly is, you know, as we get into the fall season, we have a lot of athletes who are looking to develop, right? They did the spring, their high school season. They went through the summertime. Some guys were in a recruiting phase. Some guys were in a development phase this summer. And now we're in fall. And what's really pissing me off is trying to understand and help the athlete of what their schedule and what their training needs to be. I see it all over the forums and people asking the questions about, you know, baseball at a young youth age should be about development, focus on development. So the question I have is, can we do that while we're playing full spring, full summer, and full fall schedules? I have my opinion, you have yours, but we keep asking the same questions. Year in, year out, nothing changes. Actually, what does change, it seems like the schedules are getting more complex. We're playing more games during the summertime, right? And I'm not making a stance that I'm for select baseball or against it. All I'm telling you is a fact. And the fact is that we are playing more games and more travel. Guys are playing 8 to 9, some 10 events during the summertime, and it is growing. So when does that slow down? Now it's carrying into August. August used to be an off month, and it's not. Tryouts are getting earlier for the fall. Tryouts are getting earlier for the spring. So it's about games. Okay, that's fine. But when do we start talking about development for the individual athlete? When does that occur? Especially for pitchers. How does that happen? Is there a time when we need to take away from the field? And I know everybody can sit here and say, well, yeah, the athlete has to know. But right now, the athletes think playing year round is what's going to get them there. And you know that. So if you're listening to this and you're in the forums, you know that's what the athletes think, that they need to be playing. Why? Because that's what everybody else does. So when do they step away from the field? When do they take a break and get out there? It is very hard to develop an athlete and train and be able to focus on him without control of his arm and his workload. Right? It's difficult when they're pitching every Saturday or every Sunday and then trying to fit it in during the week. And some of the select organizations have practices, which I'm for. I think we should be on the field with the team. I think they should build that. So for those of you who are doing it, I love it. However, when does the athlete have time to focus on his individual development? Right? And there's a lot of great organizations, and I love the way that, you know, these organizations are promoting the team and promoting playing the game a certain way, competing. But for the individual, when do they have the time to take steps forward? For me, I thought it was the fall. I thought this was the off season. You see, we were putting it out there, off season training. But there's a lot of games and tournaments that are happening. And on top of that, this is what really is irritating me and pissing me off. The high schools are also having midweek fall games. So now we have midweek fall games and guys are throwing. And then we have the weekends and guys are throwing. And none of those guys are communicating back and forth. And I don't care what you say, you're not. You're not communicating back and forth. And so it's up to the athlete, yet again, the individual. I'm not saying high school fall ball needs to go away. I'm not saying select ball needs to go away. What needs to go away is lack of communication and lack of scheduling. So when an athlete comes to us to train, or any of you thousands of coaches who are all over Twitter in the Houston area or across the country, what do we tell an athlete who wants to work on velocity? What do we tell an athlete who's having some arm pain and needs to deal with it? What do we tell an athlete who needs to make changes in the delivery and who needs to take steps forward? Because the ultimate goal in playing with a lot of you guys is to get to college baseball. But the fact is, most of them aren't ready. So what do we tell a guy who has to play Wednesday nights in a high school fall league and throw, as they say, just a couple innings, and then he's throwing just a couple innings again on the weekend? When do you fit the individual training in? When do you fit those bullpens in? When do you fit that mound work in? Because I don't understand it. We are lying and not telling the complete truth of what athletes need. Again, I'm not saying they don't need to be playing with you guys on the weekend and they shouldn't be playing for their high school team. I'm all about high school ball. I love the opportunity to go and compete and go win a state championship. In fact, I think we need more of it. But the fact is that when do these athletes get the time to focus on themselves and take steps forward? When do they get time to focus in the weight room and focus on the bodies? I see guys, you guys are pumping some great information out there, hitting coaches, pitching coaches, talking about how important the weight room is, and you are spot on, right? I love it. But when do they do it? When can they do it? And if they don't make time for it, they wind up being the athlete who got left behind, which is most guys, right? So are we really developing and changing the game and changing the way athletes are coming out? Because it's not broken, right? There's still going to be plenty of guys throwing 90. University of Texas is going to fill up their recruiting class as always. But when are we going to really focus and help these guys get a next step forward? Because what it seems to me is there's a lot more training, a lot more baseball. Those who survive and make it do, and those who don't. And we always find some excuse of why they didn't make it. But right now, the high school schedules and the homework loads are out of control. I don't know what kids do in school anymore, but it's definitely not homework because they have hours of it when they go home. They're on the field 2 days a week. They're on the field on the weekend. And so that's my question, is at what point do we give them the time and tell them straight up the truth? And I'm not pointing fingers, but for 2 years now, and I've been part of this, we've been bitching and complaining about what's not right. So when do we get together and propose something different? So that's my question to you guys. And I really do want to hear from you, man. I love following you local guys on Twitter and on Facebook. Aaron Cunningham started the Facebook group out there for high school and select ball, and it's fantastic, right? And they've done a great job moderating it, keeping away a bunch of the BS out of there, and it's just great baseball conversation. But when do we take steps forward? I would like to hear your opinion on this and get back with it. So it's not a right or a wrong. I'm looking for a solution and to help the athlete further. And so, because the point is like we're training a lot of these guys right now, and we're having to kind of bounce back and forth with the workload and the management. And it's crazy what's going on right now. But the fact that we have fall baseball going on for select leagues and we have midweek high school just blows my mind. And the same thing happened in the summer. So an athlete's going to go a full spring, right? And then he's going to go into the summer and play more games maybe, right? 8, 9 travel tournaments, however you want to look at it. And then also they're having midweek summer games in high school. Like, how is this okay? Am I the only one out there who's looking at this going, this is a potential problem? Not a potential problem. It's a problem now. But yet we're the same people who want to get in the forums and we want to talk about pitch counts. We want to talk about arm injuries and why they're on a rise. It doesn't take a study to figure out why arm injuries are on a damn rise. We know why, and we're all part of the problem. Select teams, coaches, training facilities like myself, right? High schools, none of us communicating. We are all part of the problem. So can we all be part of the solution? That's where I'm at with it, right? Because it is for the athlete. I want to see these guys develop. That's what makes me tick, man, is seeing these guys develop and playing a small part in helping guys reach their goals. And I know a lot of you coaches and a lot of you parents that are in these forums and that are out there, you're hey, you feel the same way. There's a lot of great coaching here in the Houston area. But the fact is like we keep doing more on the field. We keep playing more games, adding more to the schedules, and we have control of nothing. And so as we're talking about the athletes and these arm injuries, I just keep going to that question going, is it really that hard to understand why kids are getting hurt? Is it really that hard to understand what's going on? Or is what's hard is now that we've created this situation, we don't know how to change it. What you got?
I thought of an anecdote from the summer where we had a kid who played 10 weekends, right? And so he would throw on Saturday. And he had searing arm pain on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Felt pretty good Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, he threw a little bit, and then he pitched again on Saturday for 6 innings. And then that also begs the question, what are we doing here? You know, you got a kid who's doubled over in pain for the first 4 days of recovery.
Yeah.
He's going back out there and throwing 7 innings on a Saturday.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like some select organizations do an amazing job of capping it and managing it and knowing their athletes. And so we got guys throwing 2 innings, throwing 3 innings on the weekend. Some guys are throwing 7 innings. And why, I don't know. And then the same guys are going out there and throwing in a midweek game in their high school, right? So I always like to ask why. So instead of saying, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't be doing this, why are you doing this? Well, the kids are playing because they think they have to. They think that this is their chance to get college exposure. Well, the first question is are you ready for college exposure? And that's a whole nother cast for later. But why are you also going out there in their high school? Well, they feel obligated to it. Right? I don't expect a 15, 16-year-old kid, right? So for anybody who wants to comment, well, it's up to the kid to do. No, I don't expect a 16-year-old kid to talk to his high school coach, guy who has some authority over him, to say, hey, man, I'm not playing. Why? Well, I'm picking my select team over you. Again, I'm not choosing sides. That's reality. And then vice versa, they feel like if they go play with their high school team, that they're missing out on college exposure and all these opportunities. And that's not necessarily true. You guys know as well as I do that if you want to go to Texas, there's a certain way that you have to spin that ball to go to Texas, right? If you're going to go to A&M and hit, there's a certain way you have to hit. I don't know what happened. I was trying to cue some music there. It didn't play. But my point is that we need to be honest with these guys, and we need to find a solution with that. So, look, all the pitch counts, right? And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Maybe it's a little off topic or not. Pitch counts don't work. They just don't work. There's no set pitch count. There's never going to be an app that is going to be able to tell you exactly what right and wrong. We've been discussing the new Pulse that's coming out. Driveline's come up with it, right? It's not new technology necessarily, but it's organized differently. Again, the only way these apps work and these sensors work as far as managing workload is if you're going to wear them all the time. And it's just not going to happen. That's reality. Maybe with a college athlete in the offseason who actually get a true offseason. Professional athletes, they can do it, right, and during their time. But high school athletes, man, it is all over the place. And one thing I see constantly on Twitter, one thing I see constantly on social media and these forums is everybody talks about the plan, talks about a process. You got to have it. It is absolutely the Wild West right now with developing high school athletes. Everybody's got the answers to development. Everybody's got the answers to what throwing program, what hitting program you need. Great. Here's the answer most of us don't have. How to get a good plan that works logistically and financially and works for the benefit of the athlete. Because when you have complete control of what's going on in the situation, you're going to be better. So those are the questions I'm proposing. You know, is it okay for our athletes to be playing fall baseball right now on the weekends and to have to go out there and play for the high school team? We have an athlete, right? We have a player right now who is playing football. Big-bodied kid, great potential, great future on the mound, maybe as a hitter as well, two-way guy still. And he's playing high school football, and he's playing weekend select ball, and his high school coaches are asking him to come out there on Monday nights and play in the fall league. I mean, this is grossly unacceptable. It's football season. Put the baseball down, put the bat up for a couple months, and go hit somebody on a football field. Like, why? But I asked the question of why we're doing that. Their answers were, right, shockingly okay. Well, this is what our select team's telling us we need to be doing and that we're missing time. Or we're afraid that if we don't play select ball in the fall, that we're not going to have a spot to play in the summertime. That is real. That is happening right now, and we need to change that. Well, why are you playing? Why is your high school coach asking you to play fall ball if you're playing football? Like, you're committed to a different team at that school. Well, they didn't really get a chance to see us and we're younger, and so they wanted to get some eyes. That's unacceptable. It's bullshit, right? It is football season. Let them put the glove down and go hit somebody on a football field. If I'm a football coach, I am livid that I cannot get this guy's attention. This is a big-bodied kid. I don't know. Maybe he will be a defensive end one day. All right, who are we to say that, no, you need to focus primarily just on baseball right now? Like, put the glove down for 2 months and go play. And I know everybody listening to this is going to agree, right? And if you disagree, please enlighten me. What am I missing? Because it rages me to know that we have high school kids out there who are going through this, high school kids with a lot of talent, and we all just turn a blind eye to it like it's nothing. And it is happening. Every organization has kids like this and going. And I find it, again, grossly unacceptable and irresponsible that in a city like Houston that has the athletes and the training and the knowledge that we do, that we have these problems. You want to make a change the foundation. And right now, it is the Wild West show of what's going on. So please get in the comments. Let me know what's going on with that. I want to save some arms. And not necessarily save arms. I don't want to be on the passive side and stay back. I want to be on the aggressive side. Let's be able to push guys to goals. Let's get them into the weight room. Let's have throwing programs that are going to help develop the body, help develop the arm, help develop the mind. But you need time to do that. We need appropriate time for that. So if there's any comments you have or anything out there, please drop them in. Reach out to us. I want to know about it. If you have any stories, please share them. You coaches, we're going to be reaching out to you to get you on the show. I want to hear from you guys. It's very important what we're doing, and it's important to me, right? And I hope maybe there's somebody else out there. I could care less. The number of followers that I have, it doesn't stop what I do. It doesn't stop how progressive I am. Every day we're learning and every day we're going forward. I just haven't found the time to tweet about it like you guys have. So somebody needs to show me how the heck y'all do that. It blows my mind how much you guys can do this and still train and develop. I know you're dealing with 100 athletes like I am as well. So I don't know. Maybe I got left behind when it comes to that. And for a facility that kind of thrives with technology, apparently I haven't figured out the thumbs and the phone. But I do love the information that you guys put out there. So I mean that. Whether I agree with it or not, I love that you guys are willing to just throw it out there. And it's free information. And so please keep it up and keep going. But that's where we're at, man. The arm injuries, it's crazy. And this time of the year, where every week we're getting referred another player who's hurt. And I'm not blaming you guys. So you know it. I've never one time told an athlete that it's your select coach's fault or it's your high school coach's fault, because I don't believe that. I really don't believe that you can ever pin it down to one individual. There's so much going on there for injuries. That's why I have a hard time ever believing that any pitch count rules or any app is going to completely change, right, an individual's workload to where he's not going to get hurt. I mean, the best way to not get hurt is not play. But there's just so much that goes into it in the body and the time and the preparation for it that I don't think it's there. But I do think it starts with, for all of us who are preaching about scheduling and process, yet we continue to allow the same schedules to happen. And I just think we're getting to a point to where it's not working the same way. It's working for the top guys. But how do we truly help those individuals who need to take a break and take steps forward? Sometimes it's okay to put the glove down for 2 months. It is. You're not going to get left behind. Anything, sometimes that 2 months down, letting the body refresh, letting the mind reset is exactly what you need to take 2 big steps forward. And that's what we're missing on this. So, and I've had a problem with this for a while, and I know I'm not the only one. You know, when high school summer ball and select ball start to interfere, and I understand it. There's select coaches out there who are just blackballed by high school coaches, you know, because high school coaches want credit, and the other way around, right? Where there's high school coaches that are open, but some select coaches never give them the time of day. Right. And this is a problem I have. We need to work better for the individual athlete. That's what matters at the end of the day. They pay us money to help them reach goals. And it matters. The only thing that matters is that this kid takes steps forward in some way. And that is our job and our responsibility to any athlete from 12 years old to professional athlete, is to give them everything we can. But how do we do that if we're not changing the foundation in the schedule? All right, a question I ask all of our athletes during the summertime, whether they're a college athlete or high school athlete, is why are you training? What are you trying to achieve? So we get that answer, and then we say, what can you give us in time and logistics for that? Do you have the time to hit these goals? And one of the craziest ones that I always see, getting away from some of the arm stuff, is weight gain or strength gain or power gains, right? It takes time to do that. And not only does it take time in the weight room, it takes time in recovery. And the schedules aren't set up for that. They're not. When you're playing 3 or 4 weekends in a row and starting on Thursday through Sunday, there's not enough time. There's not enough time to lift. There's not enough time to focus. And there's definitely not enough time to recover. So after a couple of weeks of that, the body gets lost and we're not making gains anymore. So let's stop making the excuse if we're doing it. The athlete's got to want it, and they do want it. That's why they're paying money. That's why they're training multiple days a week. They want something, right? So how do we get better at that? So that's my big question today is how is fall baseball appropriate? Are we doing it the right way? Is there another answer? And again, I'm not calling out, so you don't have to even defend. I get that some select teams and organizations have to do what they have to do to survive and get by, and I completely support that 100%. I think Houston is loaded. Everybody always talks about the big 4 or 5 organizations, but there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of great teams out there. High school ball is great. Some great coaching and talent here and outside of Houston too. Obviously, Katy and Cypress, surrounding areas. I just have those couple burning questions that I can't pinpoint anymore. I think I know what the answer is, but every time I give it, it pisses people off, right? I get texts from select coaches. Hey, could you please quit telling my players not to play summer ball? Like, stop texting me that stuff. Give me a solution. Because if I'm telling an athlete something, I'm doing it with what's best for him, not what's best for your team. But I would love to work together with you. And if you can help me figure this out, what matters is, are we helping these athletes out? So, hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I can't wait to hear your comments. Please jump on it. Please let me know. Thank you, guys.